I'm Tommy Tran with the breaking news out of the NFL, where the Cowboys have made Brandon Aubrey the highest paid kicker in NFL history. It's a 4-year, $28 million deal with $20 million of that guaranteed. That's the latest from our JJ. Aubrey has been named All-Pro each of the past 3 seasons. He's made more 60-yard field goals than any kicker in league history, 3 of which came last year. He's now signed in Dallas through the 2029 season. There's the list of most guaranteed money by a kicker, and Aubrey now eclipses Harrison Butker for that title. I'm Tommy Tran with Jonathan Jones. JJ, what more can you tell us about the Cowboys and Brandon Aubrey today?
So the Cowboys had slapped a tender on Brandon Aubrey. They sort of dared anybody, come try to sign him to some offer sheet if you want and send a second-round pick. Brandon Aubrey is worth a second-round pick, certainly worth that in the 2026 draft, even though he is a kicker, because he is a game changer, because the Dallas Cowboys, if they get a touchback and get a first down and a couple more yards, they are in scoring position. They can get 3 points with the leg of Brandon Aubrey. And so they hammer out this deal with Todd France, the agent of Brandon Aubrey, who happens to be the same agent as Dak Prescott. He helped make Dak Prescott the highest paid player and quarterback in NFL history. He now helps Brandon Aubrey become the highest paid kicker in NFL history, $7 million per year on average. He's locked up there in Dallas, and it's a great move, an obvious move for the Cowboys. This is what they've wanted, and in this new age NFL with the new dynamic kickoff, you need a guy like Brandon Aubrey.
I think you hinted at it, but one more before I let you go, in terms of just the sense of what we're talking about, right? Because at one point, Aubrey wanted $10 million a season. There was a deadline last week that if he didn't get it done, 5.6 was floated out there, so this seems to be something in the middle. Did you get a sense that anything was going to even be close to that $10 million from any other team in the league?
No, not $10 million. That wasn't happening. I'm not entirely sure that that's what the agent was pushing for, but in terms of being the highest paid, he could have been the highest paid at $6.5 million and won, right? So they wanted to go up. Was it going to be 8? Was it going to be 9? Obviously, they settled at 7, something that, unless there is a huge season that we are not anticipating from a kicker this upcoming regular season, Brandon Aubrey is not only the highest paid kicker in NFL history today, but probably a year from now as well.
Our thanks to JJ with the breaking news on Brandon Aubrey and the Dallas Cowboys.
For Cincy, but where are you on how this all played out?
Does it really feel like a win for Cincy? I mean, look, I get it. I know why they're doing it. The regime is in trouble. First and foremost, they got to win. Joe Burrow is not happy. If they don't make moves to try and win games, he's probably going to want to go somewhere else. So you understand the move. And would they have got an impact player at 10 like Dexter Lawrence? Probably not. But talk to me in about 3 years and see how this works out for you.
Not even probably not. No is the answer, right?
Well, I mean, Dexter Lawrence a year ago wasn't great.
Beep, beep, trade alert, here it is. Mel, you have the Cardinals trading back into the end of the first round in this projected deal. The Cardinals get picked 30 and 94 from the Dolphins in exchange for the 34th and 65th picks. Mel, what is up in Arizona?
Well, you got to get ahead of the Jets, guys. You got to get ahead of the New York Football Jets. You got a guy in Ty Simpson who at one point in time, as late as November 15th, was considered a top 10 pick. We're talking about Ty Simpson. And up until that point, without help from a great offensive line, without a running game, with guys dropping the football, he still was putting up great numbers. At that point, he was 21 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Then he got banged up. And then he started fumbling the ball. 5 straight games with a fumble loss. But processing, you talk about accuracy throwing the football. I think he's a faster, more athletic Mac Jones. So Arizona, Mike LaFleur has talked to Rams like them. They don't have a late first-round pick anymore. LaFleur came from the Rams to Arizona. You can handpick your quarterback, right? You're in a division with a Super Bowl winning Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl winning quarterback, and Brock Purdy. You need to figure that quarterback position out. You know the Jets could take him. Jump ahead of the Jets. Miami needs that 65th pick. I think it's a good move for both teams, and Arizona gets a quarterback that comes in with the head coach, which is what I like, pairing head coach, handpicking his quarterback.
Pre-draft visits don't always foretell the story here, Mel, but of note, at least to me, on the final day that teams are allowed to have players in for what we call a pre-draft 30 visit. Who is in Arizona visiting the Cardinals? Ty Simpson. And from what I'm told, it's not just because he likes the Phoenix weather. There's, of course, a visit with the Cardinals will make all sorts of sense, at least in my eyes. But I want to ask you, Mike T. You saw the parameters of that deal. The Cardinals move up 4 spots to secure Ty Simpson. Is that the right call?
Absolutely. I love this idea by Mel. The 5th-year option is so hugely consequential with starting quarterbacks making $60 million and on up, especially when we get 3-4 years down the road, given the trends of the league. So we saw it last year with Jackson Dart being traded up by the Giants. A number of years ago, Lamar Jackson going 32 overall to the Baltimore Ravens. I think there'll be a little bit of an arms race between the Cardinals and the Jets, who are sitting there with 2 second-round picks. So if I'm Arizona, I may even have to be a little bit more aggressive. I really like Ty Simpson. I always have. I think he's a starter in this league. I think he's a combination of Brock Purdy, some Baker Mayfield in him, little underrated athleticism with a really good arm, a little short on starts, which we all know of. But at this point in the draft, Arizona or the Jets trading up makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I don't hate this pick, and I know among the group I'm the Ty Simpson critic, but I don't get the sense that you have to jump the Jets. I think everything coming out of New Jersey is that the Jets are all in on 2027. So I guess I ask the question, Arizona, who are you jumping up for? If you don't have to worry about the Jets, are you jumping just to secure the 5th-year option? If that's the play, okay, 30 makes sense, 31 to the Patriots makes sense. If you're only trading up for that 5th-year option, I now understand it. But I don't think you have to jump the New York Jets because they've passed on this guy twice already, right? They've already said he's not good enough to be a starter for us. We're not taking him at 2. We're not taking him at 16. Okay, at 33, maybe they would consider him. I think Simpson in Arizona is a better fit than he is in a lot of other places. You have some established weapons. You have some established elements on the offensive line. You have some guys on defense that's going to keep this team relevant, but I'm still not sure that Ty Simpson is this franchise quarterback that we keep hearing he is because, as Mel mentioned, he declined over the course of the year, not inclined. Fernando Mendoza got better every week. Simpson got worse over the last 6.
Not comparing Lamar Jackson and Ty Simpson as prospects. They certainly played the position very differently, but I'm thinking about the Ravens trading back up to 32. I just don't know that you ever know for sure that a team is not going to take a player. So maybe that's why Arizona makes this jump. Let's get to the Dolphins side, though, Mike. A team you know very well. Do you like this move by John Eric Sullivan?
Absolutely. When you look at what they've done so far, first-year head coach and Jeff Hafley, John Eric Sullivan, first-year GM, move on from Jalen Waddle, take the big cap charge on Tua. They're in the volume business this year, so if they move back in Mel's scenario, Jermari Bernard, I think it's going to be a chance to be a starter in this league. Maybe has some flexibility between playing inside and outside, but he's a productive player for the last 2 years for Alabama. So to me, I don't think he's Jalen Waddle by any stretch. I don't think he's nearly as explosive. But if he could come in and be a starter for them eventually, and they pick up a couple of extra picks, this is the right trade at the right time in terms of team building for the Miami Dolphins.
Mike, I know that Matt and Fielding don't remember 1984, but the Cincinnati Bengals took 3 players ahead of Boomer Esiason.